Squad is set. Ready to go.
All right, Charlie Lewis with Coach Sloan in Open State.
Thanks, guys. Just really excited to be here. Right when it's time, man. We're here. We're kicking it off. It's just been a great experience so far. I think Coach Stein's just done an unbelievable job of getting in here and hitting the ground running. The staff that he's put together, we've really had a lot of fun together. The team and some of the different pieces we've been able to either keep or add, and just watching these guys work through spring and then throughout the summer, they've really gotten after it. So it's gonna be a lot of fun, man. We got a lot to do over the next few weeks, right, to get prepared for the season. But we're excited about it. We're prepared, and the guys are ready for it.
Coach Stein talked about the process. Just what does that look like from the offensive coordinator position, and how you're trying to get that side of the ball focused in on it?
Yeah, I think, and I've referenced this a couple times with in some different opportunities to talk to you guys. I think the way that Coach Stein has organized our schedule, the NCAA allows you a certain amount of time during the week, to do different team activities, whether that be working out and all that kind of stuff. And I think the way that he's designed our schedule, we get so much football in throughout the year. We really take advantage of every minute, and that's the biggest piece of the process that I think applies directly to the offense. We just get so many opportunities to work a lot of different things and get our guys extremely comfortable with the fundamentals of what we want them to do and the assignments of what we want them to do. Because if they're in that position, right, if they're there mentally, then they can go attack, be aggressive, right, and they can play fast. And then it's up to us to put the right players in the right position to attack the defense in the best way we can and get us the best matchups. But I definitely think from a process standpoint, us taking advantage of every minute so that they're the most comfortable when they go out and rock and roll.
You've added 2 quarterbacks in spring. How does that affect the backup competition behind Kenny there?
Well, I mean, I think obviously excited about both of them. We'll see, right? I mean, we're going to put them out there on the field and let it go play out that way. Competition is really one of our core values, right, in terms of what we want to be about. And I think that makes everybody better, right? We want guys to go out and compete, and ultimately it's going to be decided on the field, right? Everybody in that room has been awesome. They're all great guys. Love them all. Now it's going to be about who can go out and who can move the team forward, score points, and make us the best offense we can for Kentucky football.
Joe, you recently added a couple more running backs, JUCO guys. What did you like about them, and what do you feel about the state of the running back room right now?
Yeah, I think, first off, we just need strength in numbers, right? We need depth in this league. We just need numbers. It's going to be a long season, right? And there's going to be a lot of different things that come up, and we have to be able to adapt and make the best decisions, right, as we go. But some of that we have to have people to do it with. Really excited. I think one obviously gives us a little bit more of a space player and I think some dynamic ability on tape, and then another big back, right, which I think, so the combination of the two I think definitely brings some variety to the room in some of the skill sets that they bring. We'll be able to use them accordingly, but again, they're just getting here, got to get used to the offense, right, learn how we do things, but so far they've plugged themselves in pretty well.
Joe, off of that,
Baxter and Barnes were no contact in spring. What are your expectations as practice starts now?
Yeah, I mean, and I know Coach Stein will comment on some of those things, but I'm excited. I'm excited for both of them. Really excited for CJ. I think he's done a great job, really over the last, several weeks. He's attacked it like a pro, right? Obviously, whenever you have a little tweak or a nick or whatever that might be, right? It's a lot of times older guys handle it better because you have to stay up, right? You got to stay engaged, and he's done a really nice job as he's worked himself back into being fully healthy of really staying locked in and being prepared for the season coming up. So I'm excited about him. I mean, obviously he's had history, so some of the decisions that Coach Stein makes, right, will be based on protecting him, right, because we have a long season to go. But he's done a really great job. So excited about both. I'm excited. I think there's a lot of different pieces and a lot of different styles of players. I think some guys have had really good summers. I think we got a couple young guys who can do I think bring a lot to the table. And then we got a couple veterans who've played a lot of football, right, in terms of Shane and Nick, right? They've played a ton of football, had a lot of snaps. But then we got some young guys. I know Coach talked about DJ earlier, and what he's going to bring, whether that be Kenny Darby or Ferg or some of those young guys. I think you'll see a lot of different people, and a lot of it's going to sort itself out this August, right? I mean, that goes back to the same question we asked about the second quarterback. Is now we got to go out in the grass, and for the next few weeks, we got to go out and establish, one, who's going to play, but then the second, who's going to demand the football, right? And those are two different questions. And I think both of them need to be answered. I think we got some guys who, Xavier Daisy didn't even get to participate in spring much at all there, and he's back, right, and having a good summer. So really has attacked it. So I think there's a bunch of guys. I could go on and on and on. Brock Kaufman's had a great summer. All these guys have had good summers. Now it's about, but summer just prepares you for August, right? So now you got to go into August. You got to make plays with the ball in the air, and show that you can go out on Saturdays and make plays when it counts.
Joe,
Not everybody at once.
since you guys have been here,
Yeah.
what have you seen from Malachi Wood?
What are your expectations for?
I think he's a very talented football player. He can run, he can move, he can bend, he's got length. So, I think, again, I know he played really well a couple years ago, had some whether it be injuries or whatever that, last year, and I think he's worked himself out of that. I think he's done a really nice job of kind of working into our system, learning the plays. As he got to participate there in spring at the end, right, more and more and more, he's really attacked it. I'm pumped for him. I mean, again, he's a guy who now, over the next couple of weeks, he's got to establish some groundwork and a foundation for himself going into the year. But he has all the talent now. I mean, there's only so many human beings that are that big, can bend like that, can move like that, and he definitely has all those things. So, and he's highly intelligent, right? And I think Cutter's gotten really done a nice job with him of connecting with him, and allowing him to really be himself, right, and kind of come out of his shell as a young player who's maturing into an older player.
As an offensive
Coordinator, well, I'll wait.
As an offensive coordinator, anything about the scheme that would lead you to say, "Oh crap, we have to face a J-Bacon defensive Saturday"?
Well, I don't think it's a secret that they led the country in third down last year, right? So, for the last 2 years at A&M, they were really good on third down. I mean, last year they played Auburn and allowed 0 third down conversions, right? I mean, that's wild. Just so, right, we're on the same page. That's wild, right? But I think he does a fabulous job on third down, and I think he's really done a nice job of being extremely multiple and adapting to the different personnel that we have on first and second down. Jay's coached a long time. I've known Coach Bateman for most of my football life, because he was in Virginia small college football when I was in high school, and really just kind of our paths crossed a few times, and over the years he's done a great job at the different places he's been, and I think you see that, right? I think you see that he's always able to adapt and answer the question that comes up, right? That comes up and arises. But I think it definitely starts with their third down package. I think is elite.
Joe, what was your message to Kenny at the end of the spring? What did you want him to work on this summer?
Well, I think there's some technical things. With Kenny is always just that we talk about is playing on his back foot. Right, playing on his back foot a little bit and getting his weight back so that he can drive the ball consistently. When he does that, he's elite. I think he's extremely accurate naturally. Really, I think starting to and he's doing it. Right, is coming out of his shell and being extremely vocal but consistent. Right, in terms of his how he approaches the team, his messaging to the team. I think he's done a great job of that. And then the next piece is he's got to play out in his head because it's been a while, right, since high school, since he's been the starter going in and all those things. So with that, there will be some new challenges for him, right? And he'll attack those well, but also thinking ahead to that, right? What's going to happen in the season, right? There's going to be positives. There's going to be some bumps, right? That's part of playing the position. That doesn't matter how long you play, okay? So I think for him is just working through that, becoming a master of the offense and becoming an elite communicator to where everybody can turn to him and know that he's going to have the answer for them, and we're going to keep moving forward as an offense. And I think he's attacked that really well.
Going back to running back.
Coach Stein mentioned Martell will be there full time in the running back room. Well, how big of an addition is that?
You know, he's an extremely athletic guy, right? He can do a lot of things on a football field. I think you can see he got great eye-hand coordination, great balance, good twitch, and then he's physical, right? And I think that obviously comes with being, right, starting out as a defensive player, right, in college. So I think you see that. And then it's been good. You know, he just got thrust in there. I mean, for half the practice, he was wearing like a red penny, you know what I mean, while we were handing the ball. At some point, I was like, hey, you think we can get him like a blue jersey maybe, you know? But he did a nice job. And then now it's about a daily focus. Now you're no longer a defensive guy who got tossed over there. Right now it's about the daily focus of all the little things he needs to do. And that's what I want to see from him this August, right? Is you got to show up every day, and now there's no, it's got to be all the details, right? All the little things, right? And those got to add up so that you can go make plays, because he obviously has a skill set that's a really nice for that position.
How hard did you fight to keep him? How hard did you fight to keep him on offense?
Well, yeah, I think, you know, obviously you got to have running backs. Like running backs, it's a position, a violent position, right? So, you know, that's going to be a position where you're going to play multiple players. There are some positions where you can go most of the year and, you know, somebody's going to get 90% of the snaps. That's just not the case at running back. And I think he brings I think it's a really great opportunity for him too. And I think he saw that.
Coach, Coach Stein is known as one of the best play callers in the country.
Mm-hmm.
What does that cadence look like? I know they've talked about the difference in like call plays, whatever, but what's that cadence look like for you guys, not only as you're preparing, but on game day, where September 5th is just a few weeks away?
Well, I mean, I think, you know, a lot of offense goes, it goes throughout the week, right? It's how you plan, how you prepare, what plays you've practiced for those different situations, and then, right, just calling those plays that we practice throughout the week. So a lot of the preparation and the specific timing, right, of especially situational play calls happens during the week. And then obviously I'm going to lean on Coach Stein for certain things, and we're going to do that together, and we're going to make sure that the offense has it's in the vision of what he wants it to be, right, as the head coach at the University of Kentucky. And I think that's so important, and that's what we're working together on. And I think we obviously have a lot of the same visions of things at the quarterback position, right, and through the passing game and some of those different things. And it's been a lot of fun. We have some great minds on offense in terms of creativity, and then being able to go teach our players. But that goes back into the process we talked about at the beginning. It's so valuable, the amount of football time that we get here and how we do meetings and how we structure our walkthroughs and all those things, so that our guys can go execute the different, right, creative things that we want to do on Saturdays.
You guys script plays? Like first 10 or 15 plays?
Yeah, we'll script openers every week, and then, you know, most of the time you try to stick to it, right? And then obviously if some things change, right, you adjust and adapt.
You talked about Penny having to adjust to being a starter again, but what kind of advantage does it provide you where he might be a little bit of an unknown that you can sneak up on someone? Yeah,
I mean, I think, you know, obviously people won't have a ton of tape of him, so they're just going to have to go play their defense, right? And we can attack. There's not going to be, oh, well, we want to, you know, he doesn't do X, Y, and Z well, so let's attack that. You know, most guys will try to do certain things against first-time starters, and sometimes be more aggressive or sometimes really be back in coverage, right? One of the two, as a lot of times you get things like that. But, I don't know that it's too much of an advantage. I think the good thing for him is it's a fresh opportunity, a fresh start that he's really taken advantage of. And I think there's a lot. That's one of the great things about the structure of college football today. And I think Kenny speaks to that. He's done did a great job for 3 years at Notre Dame, and then having the opportunity to come here and take advantage of an opportunity that he's ready for.
What separates Willie from the other tight ends?
Well, there's a lot. So I think Willie's a special football player. One, you know, when you look at him, he's a really well-built guy, right? And a lot of times, for a guy his size and as muscular as he is, you get some tightness. He's an extremely smooth athlete for really the way that he looks, right? I mean, he's able upper body and lower body. I think he's got speed. I think he has explosion in and out of breaks, and then he fights for the football when it's in the air. But then he also is able to have versatility because I think he understands defenses and how to get open in zone coverage, how to use leverage in man, and then he adds to things in the blocking game, right? So obviously we've talked a ton about him this offseason, I think because he's extremely talented, and plus the way he attacks things, right? The way he comes in every day to work, right? He's a pro in that way. So obviously there's always a lot of talk about Willie, but I'm excited for him to now have a great August leading into fall and go out there and do this, show on Saturdays, right? What we continually see day to day.
Is it true he was leaving over to finish their practice? Would be tackled?
Who knows? The tight ends have gotten all tight ends in the country have gotten into this jump thing here lately. I'm not sure really where that came from. We try to keep our feet on the ground so we don't get turned over. But
Stood out on film when you evaluated Shane Forward when he comes from Southern Utah.
One, I think he's extremely smooth. He plays the ball really well in the air, which has showed up here, which is really good. In and out of breaks, and he seems to have a savviness as a receiver. That's what it seemed. And I think that's definitely all those things have shown up. I think he is going to bring a valuable asset for us in terms of understanding how to get open, right? He's seen a lot of different things. He's played a lot of snaps and have some versatility, and he can run a lot of different routes, right? Which, in our offense, you're going, in Coach Stein, what they did at Oregon, we run a lot of different routes, a lot of different plays, and Shane's brought a huge value that way. So I'm excited for him. I think he's really done a nice job of adapting to, obviously he's one of the, best player or one of the better players on his team. Now all of a sudden you're around a little bit more of a similar skill set, right? In terms of your peers. And I think he's done a really good job of elevating his process on a day-to-day basis, which has been really good to see. He's had a great summer.
Joe, what's your philosophy about rotating offensive linemen, and how many are you comfortable playing right now?
Those kind of decisions will ultimately be up to Coach Stein. But we'd love to. It's a long season, right? So, and I think this benefits in the way we practice. What you don't want is the first time we're in a critical game down the stretch, and somebody's going in who is not prepared for that moment. So you'd obviously always like to get as many guys that can help us win football games. So in the short term, also preparing for the long term throughout the season. Is there a specific number? I don't know. I think it's whoever can help us win football games. I think those are the guys that need to play. But obviously, we'd like to play multiple guys at positions as long as they can help us, so that they're more prepared if there are injuries on the back end.
Joe, how much does Will's success with Bo Nix, Dylan Gabriel, Dante Moore, how much does that excite you with what you have in your quarterback room this year and working with Will to get the most out of it?
Yeah, he's one of the best quarterback developers and coaches in the country, and has been for the last several years. That's what was fun for me, and that's obviously how we, really our relationship developed, especially here lately. So I think having that opportunity and having someone else and the person in charge, of the entire organization, where you're sitting down and having conversations, and when he's bringing ideas or thoughts, it's maybe it's a dark spot that I didn't see, a blind spot of mine or whatever that might be. So being able to bounce things off of each other has been awesome, and being able to see and understand why those guys were so successful consistently. And I think it's easy to see with a lot of how we practice, how we teach. I think he's an elite teacher in terms of in front of a group and how to prepare a meeting. And those are some of the things that have really stuck out to me.
Pace of play.
Just pace of play for you guys. Do you guys have a certain number or goal of number of plays you guys want to run in a game?
We'll have a lot of variety, I think that's the biggest thing. I think if you're fast all the time, people have adjusted to that. If you're slow all the time, then there's certain things that you can't take advantage of. We'll try to take advantage of and attack defenses with operation, and a lot of that is change of pace, So is there a specific number? No, I think, again, this game is ultimately about winning, Only one team every Saturday gets to leave with the win. So whatever the game calls for, that's what we're going to do and play that way. And sometimes that adjusts throughout the game. But just as an overall general statement, we're going to attack people in I would say multiple speeds and multiple tempos and keep them off balance, so that the defensive coordinator doesn't know exactly when, he wants to, how he's going to call things, how he's going to adjust. And that's something that I think Coach Stein's done a really good job of the last couple years.
Joe, will give us a list of players who are going to miss a little bit of time
here in the fall? Obviously, you prefer to have all of your players, but if you had to have some, does it add to your peace of mind at all that one of those guys is Nick Anderson and you can look at him and say, hey, I know you're going to handle this the right way. I know you're going to stay up and be ready.
Yeah, I think Nick's a pro in terms of how he approaches things, right? So that's the deal is when you're, and I think this will be for everybody in August, even for the healthy guys, is when you're not getting the physical rep, how are you getting better, right? Are you getting better? And that's the challenge, and that'll be the challenge for these guys for however long they play football. The guys who can learn when they're not getting the physical rep, those are the guys that continue to elevate. But I think Nick will approach it the right way, and he'll prepare himself and be ready to go, right? So that he's not all of a sudden coming back in and having to, oh, well, now I need another 3 weeks to get myself mentally ready. He'll approach it the right way, and we have different ways too, as these guys come back from different things that they have, to include them and protect them while also getting them adapted, right, and getting them more prepared, right, for full speed.
Will you call the game from one? Will you call the game from upstairs?
One of the advantages is being upstairs.
Yeah, I'll be upstairs. I mean, I think there's just a lot of there's benefits to both. Obviously, in this situation, right, with Coach Stein, him being on the field and us doing a lot of things together, right, it's a definite right time to be in the box. I think you get to lay things out in front of you. It's a calm atmosphere. You don't necessarily you don't feel the emotions of the game that may adjust or change what you might want to do. Now, there are benefits sometimes, right, to being on the sideline in terms of feeling the emotion or the physicality of the game. But I think, obviously Coach Stein will bring that from the field, and then me being in the box to be able to lay some things out and see a bigger picture and eliminate some of that emotion, right, that is in college football today.
Okay, folks, thank you very much. I have put the momentarily.
Thank you, guys.